The Honor Magic V3 has made headlines as the world's thinnest foldable smartphone, but beyond its impressive engineering, how does it perform as a daily driver? Let's take a deeper look into its features, strengths, and weaknesses in daily usage. Let's go. In hand, the Magic V3 is very sleek. Honor has achieved a truly pocketable design without sacrificing key features like a large battery, stylus support on both screens, and water resistance. The charger speeds are also really good for wireless and wired charging. The weight is so close to a normal smartphone that you can really forget that this is a foldable phone if you don't open it up too often. Of course, for me, I buy a foldable phone for the inner display, and that experience is really good. It's a 7.92-inch screen with software that utilizes the screen really well. The hinge is sturdy and actually pretty close to the Z Fold 6 in regards to sitting at almost any angle. This is something that I truly miss when I use the OnePlus Open. Navigating the UI reveals a unique approach to Android. The down swipe from the left side to see your notifications and the down swipe from the right side to see the control panel definitely remind me of iOS, while the home screen customization offers a refreshing level of control. The home screen editing mechanics are good like the OnePlus Opens because there's a dedicated editing mode that allows you to place widgets and move apps without stopping the editing mode. You can adjust your folders to any size and quickly access apps within these folders. The amount of ways you can set up your home screen is actually really sick. The absence of an app drawer is on by default, but you can turn it on in the settings. One significant drawback is the persistent issues with reoccurring notifications. There's a very specific notification that keeps on popping up throughout the day that basically tells you that an app is using too much power and the phone wants you to do something about that. The reason why this happens is because Chinese phones often kill apps in the background to preserve your battery life. And because of that, you start to get delayed notifications, which can cause you to completely miss important notifications. To make sure that you get your notifications on time, you have to manually adjust the power usage setting for each app. So you essentially have to choose between late notifications or reoccurring system notifications. Of course, you'll choose to receive your notifications on time for the apps that you care about, but this not only disturbs the user experience, but also potentially impacts the battery life. Third-party solutions do exist, but the ones that I've tried haven't really proven to be entirely reliable in my experience. Like, they work for some time, but then notifications still get through. And also the fact that you have to download a third-party app to give it permissions to see your notifications and dismiss them before you see them is just a negative in my eyes. Hopefully this notification issue gets solved in the future. Even with the global phone, this is the global Honor Magic V3 and I still have notification issues. So yeah, hopefully it gets fixed. In terms of general reliability and stability, I've encountered occasional performance hiccups, including app crashes, app drawer choppiness, and some stuttering during multitasking. These bugs aren't terrible and not enough to make me hate the phone and the experience, but I do think it's worth mentioning. Especially on the Z Fold 6, it's just very smooth and I haven't really experienced too many bugs and glitches like I have on other foldable phones like the Honor Magic V3, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and even the OnePlus Open. The battery life is decent, but honestly it's not really better than the Fold 6, especially with recent software optimizations on the Fold 6. With my Fold 6 recently, I was getting around 8 hours of screen on time with mixed usage. So that's playing games, doing some video editing, using the camera a little bit, doing a little bit of everything. I'm getting 8 hours of screen on time. The Honor Magic V3 usually got me around 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time, and honestly maybe the battery life is better now with some optimization and stuff like that, but in my experience when I used it, it was alright. Like, it wasn't bad at all, but it definitely wasn't like way better than Z Fold 6. I think it was around the same level, to be honest. Despite these challenges, the Honor Magic V3 offers a deep suite of features, more so than most other foldable phones. Firstly, you have standby mode where the phone turns into a night table clock, basically like standby mode on iOS. And then there's air gestures that allow you to control media without touching your phone or scroll through apps just by flicking your wrist. Personally, I suck at using these gestures, but it's cool that they're there. There's also this interesting knock and swipe feature that you can use to do different things depending on how you swipe. The always on display is a full screen always on display that actually shows phone notifications like the iPhone, and honestly this is something that I wish my Samsung phones could do. One other very notable feature is that you can shoot videos and log. This allows you to adjust the way videos look through color grading even more than usual. Log is great if you have a specific look that you want to achieve, so it's a nice addition to this phone. Honor's version of Dynamic Island called Magic Pill is as subtle as Apple's, but it is nice to have it for quick access to media that's playing or timers and other similar things. I really hope that more apps gain support for this feature on both iOS and Magic OS. I think it's just a cool feature. The Magic Portal is a new and unique way to quickly drag and drop photos and text into different apps. It's particularly useful for quickly sharing photos you see to any app like messaging apps or Google so you can search with images. You can also drag and drop addresses into maps for quick navigation. The cool thing is that it automatically opens the app that you drag to into a floating window, making it quick and less intrusive on what you were doing before that. Another feature that I really enjoy is the robust gallery app. It has some unique things that I personally enjoy, like comparing photos and a built-in video editor. The photo comparison feature allows you to select multiple photos and literally compare them like you would in a program like Lightroom. It's a simple feature, but could be very useful depending on who you are. Like for me, I often compare photos taken with different phone cameras, so being able to compare them within the gallery app is really sick. The built-in video editor is really cool because it's close to a legitimate video editor in terms of the basic features that you have access to. If you don't need to edit and splice audio, you could definitely get away with using this as your main mobile video editor. The interface is clean, smooth, and has a good amount of essential features like I mentioned earlier. One particularly cool feature is the ability to add different preset LUTs to your log footage that you shoot on this phone. All these features make it potentially one of the best phones for content creation in my eyes, especially when you consider all the ways you can use the camera, like for example using the rear camera as your main camera or your selfie camera, and then the external screen as a viewfinder so you can see a shot while you're filming it, or using the hinge to prop it up for certain shots like a mini tripod, and so many different things like that make it cool for content creation in my eyes. Multitasking is a major strength for this phone. It can't do triple split screen or open canvas, but the ease of entering split screen and floating windows makes up for that in my opinion. You can swipe to the top right or the top left to enter split screen or floating windows. You can also drag the top of an app to the left or right for a quick split screen session as well. Additionally, you can snap floating windows to the different side of the screen to again initiate split screen. But this is cool because it kind of reminds me of how Windows does it. This phone also allows for more than one floating window open at a time like the Z Fold 6. And then when you have floating windows open, you can adjust the size of it, but it stays in one aspect ratio unlike the Z Fold 6. And then it also has two modes where it kind of is mini and snaps to the side, but then there's the expanded mode where it stays wherever you put it. And then you can also toss it off to the side and access it later if you need to. Connecting to an external screen turns this phone into a desktop just like Samsung DeX. It's not as smooth or as optimized as Samsung DeX, but you can definitely accomplish the same things in this desktop mode that Honor offers. You can resize windows, snap windows to the side for a quick split screen, you can open more than 4 apps at a time, and many more things like that. Two cool features that Honor added to their desktop mode are the ability to mark up the screen and use a laser pointer. So moving on to the Honor Magic Pen, it's actually surprisingly really good. It doesn't have nearly as many features as the S Pen, but it does feel good to use. Being able to use it on both screens is also refreshing coming from a Z Fold device. It's just a missed opportunity by Samsung to not include that feature. This allows for quicker, spontaneous note-taking exactly like the S24 Ultra without having to open up the phone to use the pen. You can double tap on the screen while the phone screen is off to initiate a quick note just like Samsung devices. The button doesn't do too much, but in the stock Notes app, you can double press to switch to your pen tools. The Notes app is actually really good, and it might even be better than Samsung Notes app for specifically note-taking and journaling. It's simple, yet it has enough features to get stuff done, and it's really smooth and easy to use. I also just like the layout compared to Samsung. I feel like the Honor Notes app is just laid out way better. There's plenty of different note templates that you can choose from, and you can also customize your own layout. I'm going to play a clip of me displaying the Notes app from a previous video so you can see a little bit more of how this app works, but you can definitely skip it if you want to. The timestamp will be on the screen. Like, let me just go to a new note. You can do a type note or a handwritten note. Then you have so many different templates. You got different templates for different things like art, business, basic. You can customize it by putting a picture. Then you can choose the orientation. You can also customize it like, tablet, A5, whatever. Then you got paper, and then you can choose different layouts right here too, lines, dots, whatever. There's like different learning ones for like school, office. So what makes this pen good is actually the Notes app, because the Notes app is really good and there's a lot of options you got. And then even the colors and stuff is different too. Like you got white, you got eye care and yellow. So yeah, let me just create a note and show you. So you can resize like this. Then you got your pens, you got your pencil, pen, and then the thickness pen or whatever. So it does have tilt sensitivity as well, which is cool. And then with this button, you can double tap to switch to the eraser and then erase it. And you can switch the eraser from area erase, which is like it'll erase parts of the drawing or whatever, like this, to stroke erase where it erases the whole thing instantly, like this. So Z Fold 6 also has that. And then you also have this, you draw it, hold to do a shape, and then it'll go to the shape. It even works with like clouds, which is pretty cool. And like stars. And then you can add boxes for text. You can lasso to grab things and move them around, resize them like this. You can even color it, so you can change the color, which is pretty cool. Then you can also add images. So I can add this image, resize it, turn it, even like stretch it. Yeah, this phone is pretty cool for note taking and scrapbooking. I feel like it's even better than the Z Fold 6 in that regard.
because of how this Notes app works. It's just simple and fluid and nice. I really like this Notes app. Then you can also add a page, add image, add documents to the notes. You can also change the thickness of the pens or the tool that you're using, change the color, and you have like the whole color palette, which is cool. The Z Fold 6 also has that as well. You can also sample a color, and then you can search for different things in the note. Oh yeah, this pen also can write in text areas, so writing. My writing looked terrible there. And then also, one thing that's cool on this phone when it comes to writing in text areas, you can set it so that you can write on the whole screen. So that I'm writing in the search bar right here, I can write on the whole screen now because I activated this. So look. So now you see look is in the text box. That's pretty sick. You can highlight and then cut it. So this pen is cool in that regard, like for writing in the search boxes and stuff like that, or writing text. And then also the Notes app is really good. But that's about it. You know, it's not too much there.
Just like on iPadOS and Samsung One UI, you can use the pen to write in any text box instead of typing with the virtual keyboard. And what's cool about Honor's version is that you can actually use the whole screen to write while you're doing this. In terms of writing and drawing, the Honor Magic Pen feels just as responsive as the S Pen, and because of its size and shape, it kind of feels like using the actual pen, especially how it has the pen clip where you can put it on your shirt or something like that. The last feature that I'll mention is the laser pointer mode. Again, this is good for presentations and things like that. Going back to the design a little bit, it charges by USB-C and it has a cap on the top that is magnetic, and I find myself fidgeting with this pretty often. It also comes with a carrying case that feels pretty good quality, and it has a magnet to snapshot as well. The overall presentation and performance of the pen is great. I just wish there was a little bit more features and customization. This pen is definitely a cop if you have this phone. Alright, so while the Honor Magic V3 pushes the boundaries of a foldable phone design and boasts innovative features and technology, the reoccurring notification issues and the occasional performance glitches detract from the overall experience. Compared to the more refined Samsung Z Fold 6, the Honor Magic V3 still has more room to improve. For some people, they might prefer the V3 for the hardware benefits like the bigger battery and the slimness and the weight, but on a software level, Samsung is still the king. And to be honest, to me, software matters the most, but I can definitely understand why you would choose the V3 over the Z Fold 6 and other foldable phones. The V3 is very close in software anyways, and honestly I might go back to it in the future, especially if the notification thing is dealt with. But that's all for now. We out. Peace.